Not even like huge changes. Okay, what's the first thing? I think in order to teach what opping is, we have to break down what opping really, what the fundamental of the op is, right? Fundamentally, what kind of gun is the op? I think a lot of people have a big misunderstanding of what the op's job actually is. Some people look at the op, or most people look at the op and they're like, oh, the op is a fragging gun, right? It's for carries. Hyper carries use ops, and I don't. Although that can be true, I don't think that it's true for 99% of the player base. Obviously, you're always gonna have like the most random like savants that touch the game and they're just gods of the op, like 2016 Kenny S or 2019 to 2022 Simple, or even Zaiwu, right? Where they're super aggressive with ops and it makes it, and they can make it work. But for most of the time, the plays that they make are also like one-time things, right? For the most of the game, the way they play with an op is how you should be playing. I think a good player to learn from is Device, and the way that he ops, right? Because the op is not a fragging gun. Remember this. If you want to frag out and be a carry, buy a rifle, right? And the reason why I say this is because the way the op is designed is what it's supposed to do is lock down areas of the map. That is your entire job as an opper. You're a turret. Think more like how can I control this area rather than how can I go peek this guy as fast as possible and get a kill, right? So with that being said, that is what an op is. It's a gun that I can use to control areas of the map and lock it down, right? It's not used to take areas, it's not used to take duels. Although you can with it, it's not optimal. So what I like to do a lot is I like to control areas of the map that we already have control of. Which is why you see a lot of players that use an op, they'll play positions where they have supporting teammates and positions that have already been cleared. Does that make sense? So let's start with A site and how we can, and let's start with A site and dive into how we can take control or hold control of A site, not take control of it. Obviously a good spot to play is Ticket. The reason why Ticket's a good spot is because you can see the entire site. You can control everything that happens on A just by standing Ticket with an op. Anyone that tries to come out ramp, they're dead. Anyone that tries to come out palace, they're also dead. You're almost always gonna have at least one angle that you can hold from Ticket, in a place to control. Even if you're smoked off, like let's say there's a smoke here, they smoke you off correctly, you're still gonna see anyone coming out of palace, right? So you're always gonna have a place to control with an op. You're always gonna be able to shut down someone trying to take control. And that's the whole point of the op, is to shut down people trying to take control of things. So that's why Ticket is a good spot to play. A lot of people like to play jungle, but if you're a jungle player, you're also by extension a window player. Opping window is pretty good too. You control all of mid. If there's a smoke here, you just back up to jungle. Make sure you keep your ears open for anyone that tries to jump out window. But for the most part, when you're sitting jungle, your whole job is to just control this crossing. Make sure they can't get to site. This is a good spot to play because you have a long sight line and a big area of control. The whole point of opping is to maximize your area of control for your team. Same thing with Khan. The smoke's here. If I'm looking top mid, you see how they can't. I pretty much have all of mid at this point. They can't ever get past me without me seeing them and punishing it. Obviously, the only way they're gonna ever get past you is if they flash you off, or they like Ferrari peek you, randomly one tap you, or you whiff. That's the only three ways they can ever push you off of this, which is why which is why positions like these are so good. Same thing with Ticket. The only way they can ever challenge you is like if there's a smoke here. Usually there'll be a smoke here. You have to assume that worst case scenario, so there's gonna be a smoke here. The worst they can ever do is flash you off of this. But even if they flash you off, you're still gonna have relatively like high control. Only because once this smoke fades, they can no longer be on top of site. They have to play back. Same thing with Cat. If you come up cat, you control this entire area. It's pretty simple. Opping is a really simple concept. And with now that you guys, I think you guys get the idea at this point. You guys get the idea. You just control areas with an op. That's the whole point. You control areas, and that's about it. And now we get to move on to more to like the actual to what you do with an op after you like once you have control of something. What do you do with it? So let's say we have control of apps, right? And you see one. A lot of the times, you're only ever gonna need 1 or 2 kills with an op, and you probably secure the round. So if he peeks you apps, you get this kill. Most players would drop off, and although you can, usually I like to just, what do I like to do? Usually I like to drop to site, and that's what most players would do, and that's like the most common play, and I think that's the correct play, to be honest. But some players would like to stay on top, and they'll try for a second one. And again, you don't need to, because the whole point of an op is to punish anyone trying to take control of something, and you've already punished him, right? You already punished one, you can back off safely, and that's a 5v4. The most important thing about an op is understanding spacing. You always want to be as far back as possible. I don't know, this opping is not that complicated. It just really isn't. You just want to be as far back as possible. Get one, play like a little rat, come back. See if there's a second one coming up. If he comes up, get him too. Keep going backwards. Keep going backwards. And then now you can play here. Get a third one. Reposition again. And you just go on, so on and so forth, right? I think opping's a really passive role. Don't try to be aggressive enough. Don't be like simple. Don't learn from those type of players, only because the only reason why they're able to do what they do is because they're much more talented than your average human. I know I already hear some of you saying like, dude, Atlas, but like, what if I'm just mechanically talented? No, you're not. Trust me, you're not. You're not that guy. And don't try to be that guy. There's a reason why Simple has only a 51% win rate in FPL. Although, yes, in pro play he pops off by making aggressive off plays, that's because the other team doesn't expect it. But in Pugs, people expect anything. There's a reason why Simple only has a 51% win rate in Pugs, is because he keeps trying these aggressive plays, and he gets punished for it, right? So just, you know, take that into account. Opping's very, and I think the last thing that we need to touch on before I let you guys go is that repositioning is a very important thing. I think I mentioned it a little bit earlier. Repositioning with an op is probably like the most important skill with an op is to know where to reposition, when to reposition, and how to get an optimal pathing routes to get to those positions. That way you waste as little time as possible. And the reason why I say this is because let's say you're Palace, you're holding Palace with an op, right? You're holding from here, get the shot. There is no reason why you should ever repeat this, right? Because look, I shoot, I have to pause and come back. In that time, if there's a second guy there, he's already posted on you, and you're peeking into him, and that's when you die. Which is why you almost always fall off after you take your shot. So I take a shot, I fall off, and a lot of times I'll come down here. Right? I wouldn't go off to the side. A lot of players they go off to the side. I wouldn't go off to the side because if there's no one on site helping you, these ramp guys are gonna just run into you, and they're gonna be way too close. So that's why I back up to here. So if they are close bottom stairs already, I can just get down. And then after I get that kill, I have to reposition here. And then this is like as fast as possible, right? So you just want to take the fastest path possible. And you always want to just keep moving between each kill. So like if I get kill mid, I'll already be backing up towards jungle, making sure there's no one coming out Palace or no one close ramp. And then here I can fight mid again, fight anyone coming out, back up again, move to a different spot, fight anyone coming out ramp. Do you see what I mean? I think I've already said enough. It's pretty simple. Opping's... yeah, Opping is like a more game sense heavy role more than it is like mechanically skilled. It's just understanding what possibilities can happen. And that's the way. I think that's the right way to say it. This is understanding the possibilities around the map. It's a very timing heavy role as well. A lot of times you just have to catch these timings. Understanding the pace of the game. So I get this. If I get this kill round, a lot of times there's gonna be a second one following him. So I know this, and I'm not gonna preemptively peek again, right? I'm probably gonna smoke here, and I can either peek a second time, get a quick second one, or I back up to spawn with this smoke, right? And so there's a lot of things you can do, right? If you're jumping back here, if you see me in my pugs, you'll see me opping triple, and if I op triple, I get a kill here, drop this smoke, come back, jump spot. Oh shit, the smoke faded. Sometimes I get this kill ramp, jump back, jump spot. I see someone, I opt them through, and I try to get them through the smoke. If I can't, that's fine. I'm still backing up here, and now I'm just playing this 5v4, and I'm just holding here and punishing anyone that tries to come up spawn. So again, big on control, right? Big on map control. So the reason why I'm holding here is so that I don't lose tickets, and that's it. That's my entire job. And now that I maintain ticket control, as soon as the CT smoke fades, I can start pushing up and helping my team retake. That's the whole point of opping. You just punish anyone that tries to take control, and then repositioning to punish them from punishing. So you punish someone for trying to take control of something, and then you back up and you punish someone for trying to get the trade, and that's pretty much your entire job. It's a very defensive gun, which is why you don't see people opping T-side that much anymore. Even the way I describe it, you should probably understand that it's a defensive thing. Which is why I always say punish a lot when it comes to opping. But when I talk about rifles, I'm talking about taking angles and taking duels. Right? The whole point of opping is to punish mistakes. And that's about it. I think that's the off guide. Your job is to control areas and punish the mistakes. That's it. So I control mid, I take a shot, kill him, I punish the guy trying to trade me, I punish another guy trying to trade me. Like, that's it. It's just the goal. That's it. It's pretty simple. Any questions? I think I repeated a lot of information multiple times, but I put a lot of emphasis on keeping control and punishing mistakes. That's pretty much the whole thing about opping. If you guys don't have any more questions, I think that's it. That's the guide. No questions? Going once? Going twice? Thrice? Okay. Alright, cool. Best secondary for opping. Honestly, there's no true question. There's no true answer to that. I don't think it matters. It's personal preference. Personally, I rarely ever get a secondary, only because nades are more important. Because if you think about it, let's say I buy a deagle, right? How much is a deagle? 700? That's a smoke grenade and 2 flashes. So instead of buying a secondary, I could just have that util. And even if I already have a full set of util, I'm still not going to buy it for the sake of next round, right? So now if I save this 700, then I can put that towards next round and I have full util next round. Does that make sense? So unless if it's last round or half, I rarely ever buy a secondary. I know a lot of people do get secondaries when they op. And honestly, it's just personal preference. Personally, I don't, only because I like having nades more. I just like having nades more, and even if I already have a full set, I like having nades the next round, and that just keeps going. But let's just say it's the last round of half or last round of game. If I were to get a secondary, I don't think I would still. I guess if I really had to, I'd pick a deagle. But that's only just because me. I just really like using a deagle. Yeah, 5-7 is a good choice. Definitely. 5-7 is definitely a good choice. But again, unless if it's last round of half or last round of game, I usually would shy away from it. Just because nades are a lot more important. Even the cheapest nade, the flash, is like fundamentally more important than any pistol you can ever have. Because if you really think about it, how often are you really gonna pull out your sidearm? Like if I get a kill here, like just like I taught you, you're gonna try to reposition, right? So I get a kill here, I'm probably gonna back up, get away to jungle, and it's like I already have a second shot ready, so it doesn't even matter. The only time you would ever pull out your sidearm is if you know you're getting rushed down and you don't have time to back up, right? So say, and usually that would mean that you're already in a bad spot to begin with. If you can't back up, you're already in a bad spot, right? Like if you're already getting run down. So let's say you're playing triple and you peek way too late. If you peek way too late and they're already up towards sandwich, then you're probably doomed. So you take the shot and they're already so close to you that you do have to pull out your sidearm, right? But it's like, that's already your fault because you should have been holding deep. Does that make sense? So you should never really actually need a sidearm. Because I should have been holding deep already. And if I do get this kill, I'm already backing up. I'm already backing up to take it, and I already have a second shot ready. And I would never have to take out my pistol. Same thing with someone else trying to punish you, like trying to run at you, or like trying to trade. You punish him, you're already backing up and getting ready a third shot. And you're getting ready for a third shot. It's like in these situations, I never actually pull out my sidearm. Right? So unless I'm playing super close ticket and I'm taking one shot, I peek out for a second, and then oh shit, they're already close and I'm pulling out my deagle, like I'm probably already dead. At this point, I'm probably either already dead or I'm about to die and there's no way I can actually fight him with a D. Unless if by some miracle I fight him off, right? Say I kill him, and then yes, now we're back in the game. But why did I ever have to take that risk in the first place? Because I already got a man lead. I already killed this guy deep. I should already back up, and it's already a 5v4. It's already a 5v4, and I can get a second shot ready. Second guy comes up, and now it's a 5v3, and the round's just over. And I played that with no risk to myself. Does that make sense? Instead of playing aggressive and up on them, I take this shot, and then like I had to peek back out into them, and I just keep fighting this, right? And it's like, do I really need to do that? Because if I die, it's a 4v3, and now we just lost our 2-man lead. Same thing with mid, right? You smoke this, take a shot, I'm already backing up. I'm already backing up and finding a second shot somewhere else. I should never really, because the only reason why I'd ever pull out my sidearm in con is if I take the shot, I back up and try to keep fighting them, but they're coming through the smoke, and I have to do this, right? Or like I take the shot close, and then I had to pull out my sidearm, and by then I'm probably already screwed. So I've already made a mistake here if I do that. Because when I killed this guy top mid, I should have backed up to top con, and I'm prepared for a second shot. And if someone does peek it, I kill him and I back up to jungle and take a third shot, right? So the only time you ever pull out a sidearm is if you make a mistake and you overstay. So you just, I don't know, I just usually don't. Any other questions, man? Any other questions, or are we all good? Learn everything you could? Okay. Then that is the end of the opping guide. Hope you guys enjoyed, dude. Yeah, opping's pretty simple. It's not a super hard role so long as you I guess the hardest part about opping is understanding the tempo of the game, right? You have to understand the pacing of the game, and that's something that you usually don't have to do with any other gun. If you're rifling, you don't really have to. Yes, to a certain extent, you have to understand the tempo of the game, but you're not really punished as harder for it. You're not really punished as hard for it only because, like, you know, you can take close angles as well. Same thing with pistols. You're not really punished that hard for understanding the pace of the game because you can pretty much fight from any range, or you have a chance to fight at any range. But offs, you usually can't really fight close to the offs only because, like, the fire rate is like way too low. You're gonna pop one shot off and the second guy's gonna swing you and kill you if you're too close. Do you think the op is more valuable in lower ranks? Yes. In lower elos, you'll be able to get away with like a 4-op setup because remember that what I just said about the op, right? The op is a gun designed to punish mistakes. It's designed to control space and punish mistakes, right? And what makes it easier to control spaces is if the other team doesn't know how to use their util correctly. And in lower elos, right, people definitely have less util knowledge than in higher elo. So you're gonna be able to control space more easily, and people definitely make more mistakes in low elo, right? So you're going to be able to punish more mistakes. Does that make sense? Which is why you're gonna get away with opping more often in lower elos. In higher elos, you're gonna get punished a lot for opping. It's not really even like, most of the time it's not even like your fault. If you play it perfectly, sometimes when you die with an op, it's not your fault. It's just because like you got shut down. Like you got like 3 flashes in your face and a smoke. It's like there's not really much you can do, and the round is just over for you. So, and I don't mean by like most of the time it's not your fault. Obviously there will be times where you die with an op and it's most definitely your fault, but there are times you can die with an op and it's not your fault. And it's not like with the rifle, right? With the rifle, if you get flashed, like most of the times you're still gonna be able to fight afterwards. But if you get flashed with an op and they're already close to you, it's just doomed. So, yeah. That is opping 101.